Alrighty, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to first of all thank you all for coming out here today. It's obviously Erev Yom Kippur right now. It's a very, very busy time. We got a lot of fasting food to prepare, well, at least the pre and post fast, and there's a lot going on, so I want to thank you all for coming out here. If you could please give yourselves a warm round of applause. There we go. Thank you. And I also want to thank the amazing staff. I'll be sure about the Burnham, Partners Detroit, the amazing people here at Prime 10 for setting this up so beautifully and giving us delicious food. And that's pretty much it. Let's get started.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh yeah, let's give them a round of applause. We're like preconditioned to clap twice, and if we don't clap twice, wait, we're not supposed to start yet, I don't think. Okay. So, it could be said that Peter Crimsby was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but it might be more accurate to say he was born with a gold or platinum spoon in his mouth. Peter Crimsby was born as the eldest son of the 3rd Duke of Marlborough in England, who had one of the largest estates in the entire country. Hundreds of thousands of acres, farmland, villages where he owned the real estate and the taverns and the homes. I mean, he had peasants that they were officially free, but they were pretty much, they were his. They were kind of a massive, massive estate. And Peter Crimsby was born into this, and he was going to be, one day, the 4th Duke of Marlborough. He grew up in a massive, beautiful manor, like a manor home, Downton Abbey style. Every time he had dinner at night or at breakfast in the morning, he was tended upon by a fleet of liveried servants who, of course, lived in separate quarters and couldn't be seen walking through the main corridors of the house, God forbid, right? And he grew up very, very privileged. His father was very proud as his first child, his first son. He would take him everywhere with him. He would take him hunting with the dogs. They would go hunting with the hounds and the huntsmen. And he would take him when the first motor cars came out, right in the early 1900s, 1902, 1903. Of course, the 3rd Duke of Marlborough was one of the very first to buy himself a car in the entire region. Most people in the region never seen a car before, and they would go riding through the streets of the villages with Peter sitting next to him, and they would go through the streets of the villages, and Peter would lean out of the car and honk on that, remember the old klaxon, oogie, oogie, and all the kids would come running, and they would throw them candy. I mean, he lived a very good life. Now, in those days, it was the custom that often the wealthy American elites, the Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, they would send their kids to Oxford and Cambridge to get educated. And often the landed gentry from England would send their kids to Harvard or Yale, right? This is where they would get a little bit of coming of age experience. They would come across the ocean. They would meet new people, hopefully make new business contacts. So when they became older and they started working and expanding the estate, they'd have business contacts for the rest of their lives from across the world. And when Peter Crimsby came of age, he was sent by his parents to a fine institution in Boston, Harvard University. And he's traveling across the ocean. And just a few miles away from the shore, there's a terrible storm. It's at night, there's thunder and lightning crashing all over the place. And the captain's trying to keep track of the ship, and where there's rocky shoals as you get closer to shore. And they hit something, and it gouges a massive hole in the bottom of the boat. They start taking on water. The boat eventually just cracks apart from the sheer force of the water pushing it, and everyone is in the drink. And Peter Crimsby, he's disoriented, it's freezing, it's raining, it's storming outside. He was in the middle of having dinner on the second promenade. And he sees there in the water, he's trying to gulp for air, trying to stay afloat. He sees some kind of piece of wood, some flotsam or jetsam, and he grabs onto it. And then he wakes up. And he wakes up on the beach somewhere on the coastline of the United States of America. And he's got a throbbing headache. and he feels his head. He's got a bump the size of a grapefruit almost. And he can't remember anything. He has total amnesia. So there he is, on a beach somewhere. He looks down, he's wearing a pair of pants and a shirt. He's got no money in his pocket, no nothing, no identification telling him he was going to dinner on a ship. He didn't bring his whole wallet with him. And he doesn't know who he is. But he's in pain and he's hungry. How long had he been holding on to this log until he washed up on shore? He has no idea. He doesn't remember the crash either. So he starts walking up the coastline. And he comes to some fishing village on the Massachusetts coastline. And he comes in, he walks up to, he sees like a tavern or something. He walks in, he says, I'm hungry, can I have something to eat? And they say, feller, I mean, you look like you had a rough spot. So we can give you some bread, but over here, if you want something to eat, it generally costs money. He says, oh, okay. How do I get that? I say, well, you gotta work. W-O-R-K. You may have never heard of this before. He's like, oh, where do I do that? They say, well, this is a fishing village. You got a few options. You can work in a tavern. You can work on a boat going out fishing. He's like, okay, I'll go to the boat. He goes to the boat. He asks some guy, can I work here and make some money so that I can buy food? And they're like, sure, come on board. And sure, this is how Peter Grimsby, who's supposed to be the 4th Duke of Marlborough, ends up living on a fishing trawler for the next 7 years. His parents, of course, at first were looking for him, but they know the ship went down, and they knew that if he had survived, he would have contacted them. They send people out to Boston to look around. They don't find him. They give up after 3 years. And here, Peter Grimsby is now a fisherman, a sailor on a boat. He eats like a sailor. He drinks like a sailor. A lot. He talks like a sailor, which is not the kind of conversation you want having in your house. He carouses like a sailor. And he doesn't know any better. He doesn't remember anything. 7 years later, he has to go into Boston to pick up some supplies. So he hitches up a horse and wagon, and those times the villages had no motor cars yet. And he goes down to the wharfs by Boston, and he starts buying tackle and bait and lines, some more rope, whatever he needed, some muslin. And as he's there on the wharf, he hears the sound. Hayoogie! Hayoogie! He's like, that's weird. I'm getting this deja vu. That sound is so familiar. And he goes outside, and there in Boston is some wealthier people. It's a little bit more advanced than a village. And he sees there's somebody driving down the pier with a car. And the thing looks familiar. He's never seen one of these villages. But something about it, he starts running after it because something's drawing him to this car. And he keeps hearing the guy with the horn, Hayoogie! Hayoogie! And then suddenly something triggers in his brain. And in a second, everything comes back to him. All of his memories. It all comes rushing back to him in this overwhelming rush. And he's standing there and he's like, oh, Peter Grimsby! Look at me! I haven't showered in 3 weeks. I'm wearing these disgusting, nasty clothing. My hair is unkempt. I got a rough beard. I'm living it like a sailor. I'm Peter Grimsby. I'm the 4th Duke of Marlborough. What is going on? So he rushes to the nearest telegraph office. Please, takes out whatever money he has. Send a message to the Duke of Marlborough. Mom, Dad, it's me, Peter. I'm here in Boston. Come get me. Take me home. My friends, we are all Peter Grimsby. We are all given an inheritance. We are born into the most royal of families. We are the Jewish people. We are born into a family that is a family of incredible, incredible richness and wealth and has impacted the world in a tremendous way for 3 millennia. And when we're born, we have a role and a mission to expand the family's estate, to protect and bring honor to the family name. But then we go through this very traumatic experience. It's called birth. And we wake up one morning screaming, "Ah! We don't remember anything." We don't know who we are. We don't know where we came from. We don't remember that we were just minutes before a neshama in heaven with God. And now we're down in this world. A very physical place. Very physical place. It's like a fishing village. People just want to eat better and drink better and drive better and this better. And so all we want and talk about this. And we talk like a sailor, a lot of gossip and hurtful words and not necessarily the truth and maybe even some words that a sailor would use. And we eat like a sailor and drink like a sailor. And we forget about what our whole mission is and who we are. And this can go for a year. It can go for a decade. For 3 decades, for 7 decades, it can go for any amount of time. We forget about what we're really supposed to be doing here. And how much we have in our inheritance and how much we're supposed to be doing for the world around us. And then we go into Shul on Rosh Hashanah. And we hear the klaxon, the call of the shofar. Hayugi, Hayugi. And there's something about it. We're standing mesmerized in Shul. And we feel something stirring inside. And then we remember, I'm not a sailor. I'm Peter Grimsby, the 4th Duke of Marlborough. What am I doing? I haven't showered in weeks. I talk like a sailor. I'm offensive and hurtful to other people sometimes. I say things that aren't entirely true. I make crude jokes. I eat and drink like a sailor. I carouse like a sailor. I waste my time away whittling stuff like out of whalebone like a sailor. Sitting in front of a screen all day like a sailor. This is not what I was put on this world for. I'm the 4th Duke of Marlborough. I'm supposed to be spending my time increasing the glory of my family name, bringing love to the world, bringing kindness and compassion, using my time in a valuable way to bring value to others. Lo nivra ha'adam ela lahoil le'achrini. People are only created to help others. Our wake-up call comes on Rosh Hashanah with the sound of the shofar. And what is Yom Kippur? Yom Kippur is when we take a shower. Yom Kippur is when we take a shower. And we have to wash off the grime, the jadedness, the cynicism, the negativity, the anger, the grudges, the wasted time. I want to wash it all off. It's the Day of Atonement. It's the day where we can remove enormous amounts of grime. It's the day when we can get back in touch with what we're here on this world to do. On Yom Kippur, we don't eat. We don't drink. We don't luxuriate ourselves. And there are those that think that it's like a punishment, maybe, for our sins. Oh, we're not allowed to eat today because we're atoning for all of our sins. It's like a punishment. We can't eat until the break fast, which is almost coming. No. That's not why. You know why we don't eat on Yom Kippur? When I was a kid, there was a cereal box company that had a special deal if you collected the right amount of tops or you got the twist-off cap, whatever. It was one of those kind of promotions that if you won, you got to go to Toys R Us, and for 5 minutes you could take whatever you wanted. They still have things like this from time to time, 5 minutes in Walmart. Now, of course, if you're smart, if you got 5 minutes in Walmart, you go to one place, and one place only. Who said that? Electronics. That's right. That is right. You think like me. First of all, you can't go from one place, I'm going to get a jacket and a coat and this and that. No. You go to the electronics store and you just load up with every cell phone, every Xbox, every small but expensive item you can. You throw it all into a couple of shopping carts, you haul it out, you sell it on eBay, and then you go buy whatever you want. So imagine, before we just want to say a big thank you to our sponsor up above, the maker of this delicious H2O, and the giver of all life. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'hakol niyeh b'dvaro. So imagine you're the winner, and you get to go to Walmart, and for 5 minutes you can take whatever you want. What an opportunity. So you're there, and the TV crew's outside, and they're at interview. What do you plan on doing, Mr. So-and-so? And you're like, yeah, I'm going straight for the electronics. You know, I was in Rabbi Burnham's class. He got it right. I think I'm going to go with that. And you're standing there, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are off. You are running to the electronics department. And there it is. Everything's open. You start throwing cell phones and Xboxes and all kinds of expensive stuff in. You're throwing it in. Suddenly, while this is happening, an old buddy of yours from high school sees you. Hey, Leiby, what's going on, man? I haven't seen you since high school. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's good to see you, man. He's like, listen, we haven't seen you in forever. Let's go grab a coffee. I'll buy you lunch. What do I say to him? Lunch? Are you nuts? You see what I'm doing? Wait until I'm done. I'll buy you dinner. Yom Kippur is so precious. Yom Kippur is so powerful. We don't have time for lunch. We don't have time for a Yom Tov meal. A Yom Tov meal is a beautiful thing. A Yom Tov meal takes 2 hours, and there's prep time and cleanup time. We don't got time. This is a very, very unique 25 hours Yom Kippur. The sages tell us that the word ha-satan, the Satan, all those negative voices in your head, all the I can't do this and I can't do that, and I wish, what about him, and how come he does? All those negative voices have power over you 364 days a year, because the word ha-satan is the numerical equivalence of 364. For 1 day a year, says the Talmud, it has no power over you. You get 1 day that you're free from all the negativity. And it's a day that you can accomplish so much for yourself. You're not wasting time on food and beverage. I'll buy you dinner after we're done. I'll tell you what we're having. Lox, bagels, cream cheese, omelets. No, I'm kidding. 7-layer cake. It's too valuable a time. I've got 1 day where I can wash off years worth of grime and cynicism and pain and suffering. I'm not taking any time out to eat and drink. That's how powerful Yom Kippur is. It's that 1 day, and you will see, God willing, this Friday night, through Saturday night, through Shabbos, through the end of Shabbos. And this year it's extra special. It's got the extra neshama yesera of Shabbos. Every Shabbos, the sages tell us we get a special extra soul. So now we're coming into Yom Kippur with not only the power of Yom Kippur, where all the negativity is decreased, but we're coming in with the increase of the neshama yesera, the extra soul of Shabbos. This is a bombastic opportunity to really cash in. So how do I do that?
I was surprised that you can have Yom Kippur on Shabbat.
Yep, I'm surprised too, but thank God for that. You get all the no negativity and all the extra positivity of the Shabbat Neshama. So what do we do? How does Yom Kippur work? So I want to share with you an idea that I saw in a sefer called Emunas Itecha, which is written by, it's the Faith of Your Times, by Rabbi Moshe Wolfson, one of the great, great leaders of our generation today. He lives in Borough Park, Brooklyn, actually right around the corner from my in-laws. It's not where he lives. His synagogue is literally right up the block and around the corner from my in-laws. And I've been there a few times. His whole congregation, you guys, these people are lit. They're on fire. It's amazing to see them. So listen to this idea that Rabbi Wolfson shares that's just so beautiful and so empowering. He says the following: Rosh Hashanah is a universalist holiday. When I say universalist holiday, what I mean by that is that it's for all the people of the world, not just the Jews. We say on Rosh Hashanah, Hayom Haras Olam. Today's the birthday of the world because it was on this day 5,778 years ago that God blew a neshama into Adam Harishon, Adam, and that was the beginning of mankind. So all of mankind was born on Rosh Hashanah. And because of that, all of mankind is judged on Rosh Hashanah. We say, Kol ba'ei olam ya'avrun lefanav kivnei maron. All those who live in the world pass before God like sheep passing in front of the shepherd. He inspects each one. It doesn't say all the Jews, it says all the people in the world. On Rosh Hashanah, the main component that we talk about is God as being the king. We talked about this last time we met. And because of that, we, the entire world, we are like the servants and God is like the king. And because of that, we don't confess anything on Rosh Hashanah. I don't know if you noticed that, but we talked about it in our last class. On Rosh Hashanah, there is no confession. There's no al-chait. There's no, I did this wrong, I did that wrong, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry for that. Nothing. You know why? It's inappropriate. It's the wrong time. Imagine you have a king who's got his Jubilee anniversary, the 50th year anniversary of his coronation. They had one recently, not so recently, for Queen Elizabeth. It's now her Jubilee Plus, and Jubilee Plus, that lady, I want whatever she's eating, or, Kinahara, she'll live and be well. The Queen, so imagine the king is having the 50th year anniversary of his coronation. And dignitaries come in from all over the world, right? And the throne room is packed. They got a whole procession coming in. And suddenly, there's a servant. This kid grew up in the palace. His parents are both servants in the palace. From the time he was 8 years old, he was peeling potatoes in the basement kitchen. He's 19 years old. One day he just is fed up with his job. My whole life I've been serving here in the kitchen. That's it. That night he breaks into the cellar of the king's wines, finds 2 really good bottles, gets himself a little shicker, and decides that it would be appropriate for him to make paintings of graffiti all over the walls of the kitchen. So he does this, and of course the next morning the head butlers come in, and everyone comes in and they investigate, and they're furious, and they find out it's him, and he gets punished, whatever. So he kind of feels bad about it. So he decides that I'm going to tell the king, I'm going to ask him, I'm sorry. So he walks into the king's room, in the middle of this coronation ceremony, right? You got the trooping guards coming through with all their colors and all kinds of pageants and bands. And this guy walks in and he, excuse me, and they stop everything and they're like, Your Honor, my dear king, my name is Bob. I work down in the kitchen, and I got a little drunk. I stole some of your wine, and I made graffiti all over your wall. Can you forgive me? The king would be like, who is this guy? Get him out of here! I'm on my coronation day. What are you crazy? You're talking to me about stolen wine and graffiti? This is my coronation day. Get him out of here! On Rosh Hashanah, it's not appropriate. The relationship that we have to God on Rosh Hashanah is the same relationship as everyone in the world. We're all God's servants. We're telling him you're the king. We're not going to start going and saying, oh, by the way, I did some graffiti. It's not appropriate. Yom Kippur is a very different relationship. Yom Kippur is a holiday for the Jews. It's a special moment that we had with God going back to the first Yom Kippur right after we got out of Egypt. And on Yom Kippur, we say, in the service, we say, Anu Rayasecha ve'ata dodenu. We are your beloved, and you are our beloved. It's a very, very close, intimate relationship that we have with God on Yom Kippur. It's just us and him, and nobody else. And it's so intimate that we're able to talk to him about our mistakes. What do I mean by that? Who do you talk to about your mistakes? So there's some people, we all here, I'm going to tell you guys a secret, okay? And it's funny for me, by the way, because whenever I give these talks, I look at the audience and I'm like, everyone here is better than me. So it's like, I'm not here to tell anybody, there's anything wrong with anybody, but I'll tell you a secret. We're all everyone in this world, we're all a bunch of broken vessels, bumbling and stumbling around trying to make ourselves whole. Right? That's all of us. None of us are perfect. We've all got our issues. We all have our pain. We all have our dark side, our own real challenges. But who do we talk about it with? So, let's see. Do we talk about it on Facebook? Absolutely not. On Facebook, everyone is fronting, right? Fronting is like when you put a different front, right? On Facebook, everyone's life is perfect. Everyone's life, except for the occasional weird person who discloses way too much on Facebook and you try to unfriend quickly, right? Okay. But on Facebook, we're all fronting. Okay. But then there are people, on Facebook I front, but with some of my friends, I share some of my challenges. But then there are people who say, I don't really share some of my friends. I'm fronting with my friends all the time too, to be honest with you. Like whenever we hang out, everything's cool, everything's copacetic. But with my wife or my husband or my close friend, one friend, I'll be open. And then there are the people who can't even be open with their one dearest, closest friend. And we hope they're able to be open with themselves. But then there are the people that are even fronting to themselves. And all day long, the narrative in their head is everything is great, everything is okay, life is good, I'm doing well. But you realize that if you want to keep that charade going, it takes a lot of energy. A lot of energy. Because guess what? All is not well on the Eastern Front. We all have problems. But if when they start to surface, instead of saying, let me deal with them, we just try to smack them down, it becomes, our life becomes a game of whack-a-mole. This starts coming up, it's not me, no, that's their problem, and this person's problem, and that person, and we're just whacking down everybody's at fault, all around us, and it's just so energy consuming. We have to keep this charade going, even for ourselves. And by the way, that's a very common problem today. We don't even want to think today. Today, we don't want to think. How do I know this? Because what do you do when you get in your car? You turn on the radio, or put on a CD, or Pandora, or Spotify, or Streamify. And then you get to work, and people are sitting at work all day at the work, even if they're doing menial work. They're listening to the radio. We even have shower radios. God forbid, for 5 minutes, you should have to think to yourself. And mind you, you're multitasking. So it's not like you've got your full attention on your thought process. You're not sitting in the shower like, like just thinking like a philosopher. You're busy, but like you have enough time that you're kind of used to that routine of showering that you're able to think. But oh no, that's a problem. Why don't I get some music playing in here? So let me go to Sharper Image and buy a waterproof shower radio. So I should not even have to be with myself in the shower. They did a study recently. It was a crazy study. It's unbelievable. They put people in a room. And in the room, there was nothing at all but one thing. A little device that you could use to administer electric shocks to yourself. Okay? Not fatal. I think it was like 1 to 3 amps or whatever the number is, This is it's nothing fatal. It's extremely uncomfortable. No one wants to get electric shocked, right? Well, guess what? The people who were sitting in the room, the majority of the people started shocking themselves. They were so bored. Sitting in a room, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about me. Sitting in a board, I'm getting bored. I don't want to think about my life. That's not good. No. What's this? Oh, woo, that hurts. That hurts again. When I'm getting bored. It's crazy. The lengths that people will go to not have to face themselves. Now here's the challenge, my friends. The challenge is that when we're not ready to be real about our shortcomings, we're not ready to be real at all. My family went down to Orlando one year. And in Orlando, if you know how it works, I'm a good Jew. I know how to shop, and you get the 40% off of the sale price, and, you know, I'm good at that. You can't beat Disney World. You cannot beat Disney World. A ticket today, a one-day hopper pass to Disney is like $130. Some crazy number. And you can't beat them. You can maybe get 3% off. You book it through the resort or whatever it is. You buy it from a rebuyer. You can maybe get literally like 3% off. But you can't beat Disney World. There's actually one way. If you get your kid enrolled in a science project, very complicated. But you can't beat it. So if you're going to go to Disney, it's going to cost you, $1,500 a day, whatever it is. Because then once you get in there also, and your kid's like, but I want that Mickey hat, and I want the Mickey ears, and the custom-made Mickey ears where they actually put your name on the Mickey ears, and those one are $27, and there's an umbrella that I think maybe Snow White used, So if you're down there, what you try to do is try to find days where you can go to other alternative parks. Hey kids, let's go to Legoland today. It'll be so much fun. But I want to see Cinderella. Oh. And then okay, so one day we took them to the Crayola Crayon Factory, or Crayola Crayon Experience. This is a big building, maybe 40,000 square feet, and you could do all kinds of things. You could make your own crayon wrapper. You can mold a crayon into the shape of a fish or a car. You can make crayon art. It's an incredibly fun day. Much, much more fun than Disney World. Mm-hmm. Yep. Much more fun. In any case, so one day we're at the Crayola Experience, and there's one of the exhibits is there's a room. It's all dark, and it's got all these shiny sort of blackboards all around the walls, all around. And they give you markers, because Crayola also makes markers, that are glow in the dark. And the whole room is lit up with black lights, and you write on these blackboards, and it all glows. It's incredible fun. I'm telling you, this is so much better than Disney. So people are writing on there, they're writing, whatever, they're making pictures, and they're writing, why didn't my parents take me to Disney? We came all the way to Orlando, and all I got was this lousy experience. They're making drawings, they're signing their names, all kinds of things. So I'm sitting there, I'm walking around with my sister's actually with us, and some of my kids, and I'm writing these weird, psychobabble, meaningless phrases, we are all just termites riding on a wood, It's these weird, 90s alternative lyrics, Anyway, and then I write something that actually, I was like, no, this is good. This is good. I think it's a very powerful idea. This is what I wrote. The doorway to the place called love is vulnerability. Which means, if you want to really love someone, you've got to make yourself vulnerable to them. And there's a chance that they might reject you. What is love? If you have to envision love, when I envision love, what I think of is sort of each person's got a fire burning inside. Some have dark, raging red. Some have more cool, burning blues. And some people have yellows and oranges. And then we all have this incredible soul inside, very unique, every person. And then I can just open up this doorway and let me out, let my fire out. And then this other person can open up their doorway and they let their fire out. And it comes together to this beautiful, beautiful, illuminating force. That's love. But if I'm not willing to open up, because I'm afraid that when I open up and they say, that's your fire, I'm out of here. Maybe that's happened to me before. Maybe I've been rejected before by other people. I was talking about some of the challenges of dating today when people start dating so late. They've been through so many relationships already. They've been hurt so many times. People have become very jaded. It's very hard for them to really be able to open themselves up to that experience again after it's been shut on me time and time again. So if I'm not, there could be a lot of reasons why we're not open or not able to make ourselves vulnerable. But if I'm not ready to be vulnerable, there's no love. This person's trying to reach out to me. This person wants to love me, wants to open up, but I'm just this fortress that I've built because maybe people threw stones at me a lot when I was a kid, or whatever it was, or when I was dating, people threw stones at me a lot, so I built up this big wall, and now I'm like this, all cool, everything's perfect, everything's good, everyone else is at fault, no, I'm untouchable. But if I'm untouchable, everyone else around me can't touch me either. There's no love. The doorway to the place called love is vulnerability. Are you able to open yourself up to someone else? Who knows me more than anyone in my life? My wife. She's the one I'm able to be most open with because we have a loving relationship. And I feel safe that I can open up to her. And because of that, our relationship becomes much more real. This past summer, I was on a trip in Montana with a group of guys from all around the country. And we were driving through the beautiful Glacier National Park, remarkable, beautiful drives. We spent a lot of time in the car, though. So at one point, we got this big van, like 15 people, whatever, 10 people in it. And I say, all right, guys, everyone go around the room. We're going to go around the van. Everyone's got to say something inspirational. So we had an Italian guy in the group. The Italian guy says, since I'm Italiano, I will say something about the love. I'm like, all right, say something about the love. So he says, people say love is blind. Love is not blind. Infatuation is blind. Love is all-seeing and accepting. When someone comes to you, oh, I met this girl, I met this guy, they're amazing, I've never met anybody before, I never felt this way before. That is infatuation. And it's so blind. You're like, really? You've never met anyone before? You told me? You just met, Susie Cohn? And that's the person you think you've never met? Wow. You are blind. No. But that's infatuation. We're just blind. Oh my gosh, it's never felt this way before. I've never met anyone. She's so perfect. She's so amazing. That's not love, right? That's a joke. Love, my friends, is all-seeing and accepting. When someone really knows me, knows who I am, knows about all my faults, all my foibles, all my weaknesses, my dark side, and yet still loves me, that's where all the power lies. That's where real love takes place. And I feel comfortable. I can be real around that person. I don't have to expend energy trying to put up this front of perfect impermeability. I can be real with this person, and I can grow, and they can grow, and it's an amazing thing. Yom Kippur is the time that we say to God, Anu ra'ayasecha ve'ata dodenu. We are your beloved, and you are our beloved. And it's because of that that we can be open with you, God. On the day of the kingship, I can't mention any of my sins. It's the inappropriate location. But Yom Kippur is the day when we go in, each one of us, like the Kohen Gadol, like the high priest would go in alone to the Holy of Holies, and no one else is in the tent of meeting. When the high priest went in, so to every one of us in our prayers on Yom Kippur, we go in one-on-one to the most holy of holy places. And we can be real with God. Be vulnerable with God. Be willing to put down all those defenses and say, I'm not the greatest thing. I'm not living my life the way I should be. I'm not hitting my moral targets. I'm not a bad person necessarily, but I'm just not hitting my targets. I'm coming up short. And this is how I'm coming up short. I haven't been sensitive enough to my mom, and I haven't been I've been holding a grudge against my sister, and I've been talking too much gossip, and I've been ignoring you, the one who made me. I haven't come to synagogue enough. And when I come, I talk and schmooze. I've been wasting away my time. We can be real with God, and that's a beautiful thing. Because when we're willing to just come out and be real, be authentic, stop the fronting, it's okay. We're all broken vessels. But when we're able to admit it and talk it out to God, that's where all the healing, all the health starts. When we can finally be real. And God is all-knowing and all-accepting. He knows already where your dark side is. And He's all-accepting. Vayomer Hashem salachti kidvarecha. And Hashem says on Yom Kippur, I have forgiven you like you spoke. You came to me, you were real, you were honest, you were authentic, you were ready to face your own demons. And I, God, will say, salachti kidvarecha, I forgive like you have spoken. If your sins are like red scarlet wool, I will make them like white, clean wool. That's what the goal of Yom Kippur is. To be able to be real, to have that conversation. Now, hopefully everyone here is going to be going to services, and by all means, follow the service. But by all means, don't only follow the service. Make sure you carve out a little bit of time to go into your inner sanctum with God, your holy of holies with God, and have that frank and real conversation. You know, we read the Vidoy, we read the confession, Hashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, and Valchet. But the rabbis say that if there's something that you know has been a mistake of yours, that's just general categories that we use because it's like a catch-all for all of our mistakes. But if you know what's really bothering you, if you know where it's really holding you back, if you know which actions and attitudes of yours have really held you back this past year, by all means, specify them. Don't stick to the script. Make it personal. Make it yours. Be real with God. And by the way, it's the most amazing thing. When you can be real, do you know how cathartic it is? To just get it all out. For years, I'm trying to hold it back and pretend like it's not there and not acknowledge it. And then finally, I just stand there on Yom Kippur and say, God, I'm not okay. I've got issues. I've been messing up in this area and in this area, and I want to be better. I know I want to be better, and I know you want me to be better. Let's work on this together. You'll clean me up. I'll clean me up. I'll take a shower, wash away the grime. Do you know how cathartic it feels to finally be real? The Gemara says, "Emes man nehedar marei kohen b'tseisam libeis kodshei kodashim." How glorious was the face of the Kohen Gadol, of the high priest, when he would come out of the Holy of Holies after having atoned for the Jewish people. How glorious is our own face when we come out of a Yom Kippur if we did it right. If we were real with God. We come out feeling, it's like an incredible feeling of cleansing and renewed energy and freshness. But we can only get that if we're willing to be real. Yom Kippur is the day of amazing love. Amazing love from God to the Jewish people. There's no negative elements. And all there is just Him and us being real, and Him saying, I'm going to help you with whatever you ask me. Vayomer Hashem salachti kidvarecha. That is the role of Yom Kippur. Now that we've said all that, I want to give you guys the cheat sheets. I want to give you the cheat sheets. There's a few things that we can put on your list of things to do to kind of cheat, even if you don't deserve the best. Hopefully you'll get the best if you do these following things. Number 1, forgive others. You may be holding on to something. You may have been legitimately hurt by other people. And and you are holding on to that. You may have the right to hold on to it. They really hurt you. But let it go. Because when we are ma'avir al midosav, when we say, even though this person wronged me, and this person said this to me, this person said that to me, and they really hurt my feelings, but I'm willing to let it go, even though I don't have any obligation to do so, then it says, call ma'avir al midosav, ma'avirin lo al kol pesha'av. They take away all your sins. Right? God runs this world with something called midah keneged midah, measure for measure. When we forgive others, and people will be calling us to ask for forgiveness, and maybe there'll be people who won't even be calling us to ask for forgiveness. And by the way, if someone, for example, stole from you, you can forgive them of their crime, but not your monetary claim against them. And if someone has been hurting you repeatedly for years, you can forgive them without saying, let's be best friends again, and let me open myself up to being smashed, again and again by you like I did in the past. There's a difference between forgiveness and friendship and total reconciliation. I can just say, I'm going to forgive that person for the wrongdoing. I don't want any harm to befall them because of what they did to wrong me. But I'm not going to become their best friend. That's a painful proposition for me. But I'm going to forgive. I'm going to let this one go. That's number one. Again, the Gemara says, call ma'avir al midosav. Anybody who goes against all of his own character and instinct, where he's so much disappointed and angry and hurt, you let go, God will let go of whatever he's got against you. That's cheat sheet number one. Cheat sheet number two. Judge others favorably. It's so easy to see other people. We live in a society that is so quick to judge. Give other people the benefit of the doubt, and in heaven, they will give you the benefit of the doubt. That's cheat sheet number two. There's a famous story. Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky was one of the great leaders of the Jewish people. He lived in Toronto at the time, if I'm not mistaken. Eventually lived in New York, I think. But I think this takes place when he was a rabbi in Toronto. And he was a great rabbi. The people were very happy with him. And they brought him a gift. They brought him this very beautiful Kiddush cup, a nice silver Kiddush cup with a beautiful plate, a beautiful silver plate. A few weeks later, one of the congregants sees the rabbi carrying the Kiddush cup box that they had given him, this beautiful Kiddush cup, and walking into a pawn shop. He was so offended. We gave you this gift. We want you to use it. We want you to cherish it, to remember us with it, and you're going to the pawn shop to get some money out of it? That's not appropriate. That's not what we gave it to you for. How dare you do that? This is what we did to show our appreciation to you. So he starts going around to the other congregants. Yeah, would you believe it? The rabbi just went and pawned off the Kiddush cup that we gave him. All the members, we all chipped in money, and we went to go give him this. What's going on? And then the people, really, the rabbi? And then it starts going all around. Before you know it, the whole synagogue is buzzing. How dare the rabbi do this? And we should impeach the rabbi. Right? Finally, someone goes to the rabbi and says, with great respect and all that, if you don't mind, there's some rumblings going on in the community, and I thought I'd just clarify something with you. Sure, what would you like to know? He says, did you or did you not pawn the silver Kiddush cup that we gave you? This is God forbid. No. I use it every Shabbos. But really, then, because someone said they saw you go into a pawn shop with it. He said, yeah, I got a gift. I have to claim it on my taxes. What an honest man, right? What an honest man. He wanted to get it evaluated. Right? Here we go thinking the worst things. And he's such not only was it not a bad thing, it was an incredibly amazing thing of him that he was so honest that he wanted to claim it on his taxes. Most people get a gift or something. They're not going to write it down on their taxes. I got a gift of a Kiddush cup this year. We're so quick to judge. We judge others favorably. God says, I'll judge you favorably. Okay, we're out of time. So that's two important things. My dear friends, we are just literally 29, 30 hours away. 29 probably hours away from one of the most powerful and amazing opportunities. Let's Walmart it right this year. Let's go in there and let's grab Let's make it real. Let's be real with ourselves. Let's be real with God. And may we all walk out of Yom Kippur feeling like the Kohen Gadol would walk out of the Holy of Holies with our face shining, with this renewed sense of purpose, purity, and holiness. And may we all have a Gemar Chasim Tova. Thank you very much.
Amen.